happy Friday afternoon to ya. How's everybody? I have missed you terribly. But like I say all the time, you know, the devil is fighting, and he's doing everything he can in his power to stop me from being able to move forward and making more videos for you guys. But I'm going to persevere. I really feel like God is in charge. He is in control, and I believe that he is really moving us to continue with making our videos. So I'm just going to keep moving forward, being prayerful, and do everything I can to get some videos out for you. Having said that, we have been busy lately, and some things have been happening, and one thing in particular is that Grandpa moved in back in February this year, so it's been, what, about 10 months, and our house is too small for that. There's 7 of us in a 3-bedroom house, and we've been waiting for quite a few months for him to make a decision as to whether he was going to move out on his own or what he was going to do. He's not really budging. I think it's very overwhelming for him to make any kind of decisions like that about going anywhere, where he's going to go, where he's going to live. So I decided with Curtis that maybe we should try to sell the house and move, and either he can stay here in this house and not sell it, or but that's not really working either. I don't think that's going to work. So that's why I made the decision to sell it. So we've got it up on the market for sale. Nobody's really biting right now so much. And I figured when we do sell it, he's going to have to make a decision as to whether he comes with us or whether he goes on his own. He's talking a lot about going on his own. I don't think that's going to work. I think he's getting older. I think he needs some help, and I think he's in denial that he needs that help. But anyway, having said that, I figured that since we were planning on making the move, that it would be easier financially if I went ahead and got a job to allow things maybe to happen a little more smoothly. And I decided, well, you know, where am I going to work? What am I going to do? And I had been kind of toying with the idea of working for Amazon for a long time, because I know that they paid pretty well, and that it's pretty easy to get into. So I got online, I got into Amazon Jobs, and sure enough, all you do is fill out an application, which isn't really much of anything. They kind of just want a basic background. You take this little 10-minute test as to how to shelve things properly, and that didn't seem to be too bad. And then all of a sudden, they're like, okay, so you're hired, pretty much. It was just preliminary until they get a drug test from you, and then after that's positive, then you are officially hired. They really, really need help. If you guys are looking to work at Amazon, I don't know, if you really feel strong and like to work hard, this might be for you. But anyways, I'm going ahead of myself. So I did that. I applied. I filled out the application. As soon as you do click that button, you know, apply, they set up a time for you to go to their recruiting center, where they get your picture, they do the drug screen, they tell you just a little bit more about the job. They don't tell you a whole lot. They tell you there's going to be a lot of lifting. You better not be afraid of heights, because the shelves are 40 feet up in the air. They told me that I was going to be learning how to use the forklifts and other different trucks, driving equipment in there, and to be ready to work, that it's hard. And I thought, you know what, I'm not afraid of hard work. I like to exercise. I think it's good for the body. I think it's good to keep your body physically active as well as mentally active. And I thought, well, you know, I'm gonna give it a shot. So I took the drugs test. It came back just fine. Of course, that's what's expected. And they gave me a bunch of other paperwork to fill out. You know how that is when you get a new job. You know, the financial stuff, the W-2s and everything else. W-4, W-2, one of those tax forms. And I filled out all their stuff that they wanted me to fill out online, and then they tell you, okay, this is your starting date. Show up at this time, and we'll get you going. And that is pretty much it. There's like, I've never seen anything like it. It's never been so easy to get a job. So I decided, well, they didn't have a whole lot of options at the time that I was looking, except for the night shift. 6:30 to 5 or 6 to 4:30. So I chose the 6:30 to 5, 6:30 p.m. to 5 a.m. So I showed up on Sunday. It was from Sunday through Wednesday, 4 days. It's 10-hour shifts. And I went in there on Sunday. This was the 27th of October. So today's November the 8th. So almost 2 weeks ago. It was almost 2 weeks ago. And they go through your orientation. They go through all the safety and the OSHA stuff and the hazardous materials. And then they tell you about your pay. You know how it is with orientation. You sit through hours of orientation. And then I didn't even know what I was going to do. Whether I was going to pick the products, whether I was going to pack them up, or where I was going to be, what I was going to do. I didn't know anything. So at that point, I knew I was going to get interrupted. I can't get through a video because Mama's always needed for something. Anyway, they finally told me that I was going to be the packer. So I think it was about 3 hours of this sitting through this orientation stuff that they actually took us to the floor, showed us around, showed us where our station would be, and they took me and 5 other people to the packing area and said, this is what we're going to do. So they showed us the cage. All of the items are put in like cages, and we were going to pack single items into boxes. So they were called the singles. So I said, okay. So he said, just grab a cage and go pick a station. I'm like, really? So I guess Amazon has decided that their computer system, there's a computer at each station, and the computer was going to teach me how to pack these boxes. I think it's much nicer to have an actual person to do it, but I thought, well, okay. So it was very, very fast-paced. It's not that difficult. The computer tells you what box to use. Sometimes the computer is wrong and you have to override it. And but the thing is that there are a lot of heavy items to be packing up. Do you know how many people order dog food from Amazon? Kitty litter, vacuum cleaners, strollers, pack and plays. I was like, oh man. Well, there's a lot of smaller items too. All kinds. You know, Amazon. If you guys, unless you're living under a rock, you know that Amazon. You can buy anything off of Amazon. It is just unbelievable. I saw a catalytic converter. I saw, a toilet seat. I mean, anyway, I could just keep going on. Anyhow, so we're learning how to pack them fast. How you pick the box. How you make the box, and you turn it around, and you throw the stuff in there, and then you send it down the conveyor belt. And I thought, wow, this is high-paced stuff. So then they were telling me that the guy that was actually the trainer guy that's kind of assisting us as we're going along, he's not really teaching us because the computer is, but he is teaching us some things. He's kind of adding to what the computer is teaching us. He was telling us that you have to, by the time you get to your 5th week there, that you have to achieve a certain rate. And he was saying like 67. I guess that's 67 boxes an hour. You have to get that rate, or you get spoken to. If you don't keep up that rate, then eventually they'll let you go. I mean, and he didn't say that directly, but it seems to me like if you're not working, if you're not doing it, they let you go. They watch you. There's cameras everywhere. They watch you like a hawk over there, which is kind of unnerving a little bit. But I guess, they have to make sure that everybody's doing their job, and they're paying pretty well. Here in Chicago, it's in Aurora, Illinois. They start you at $15 an hour during the day, and the night shift gets $16.10 per hour. So they're paying pretty good. But let me tell you, you're working for it. You're working for it. So I was doing pretty good. I was figuring it out. I was getting it done, and we were doing this, keeping this going for a few hours. And I'll tell you, by morning, this is the first night. By morning, I was feeling it. I was already, my bones, my muscles were sore, and I thought, wow, that was quite a workout. So I'm like, that's okay. It's the first day, and I'm just getting used to it. I'm just getting going. So I go to the second day, and of course, it's more of the same. They show you some more things. They teach you some other things. They go through some other things that they have to show you. And then you get there and you start packing yourself. You start packing. So I was just flying at that point. I was figuring out how to do it and just flying those boxes down the line. And the trainer comes up to me and says, wow, you're already up to 59. Well, the minimum that you're supposed to get 67, and I was high-tailing it. He said, "Wow, that's great for your second day of work." And I'm thinking, how do you get better at this? And I guess the more you know how to reach the boxes, how to fold the boxes, the more you do it over and over and over, it does get easier and easier. But I'm telling you, the items don't get lighter and lighter. They're heavy. Some things are heavy. All that stuff. A lot of that stuff, not all of it. But anyway, so I kept going. I kept at it. And you're not allowed to bring your phones in. You're not allowed to listen to your own music because, of course, it's going to be a distraction, and it's probably a safety issue to have your earphones in when you can't hear anything going on around you. And I'm like, well, all right. So I can work in peace. I can pray. I can think. And from what I watched on other YouTube videos before I started the job, I thought that it was just going to be completely silent all the time. But apparently, they do have music that they can pipe through an intercom system that they have there. And I'm like, oh, all right. So I'm not really big on popular music, you guys, but I'm like, all right, well, I can deal with Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson. A lot of it was like 80s music. And I'm like, well, all right, I can deal with it. So I got home, went to bed. That was Tuesday morning. Went to bed, slept really good. Got ready for work again Tuesday night, and that was night 3, Tuesday night, and they decided that they were going to change the genre of the music that night, and all night long it was rap music, and I am not one that can listen to 10 hours of rap music. I just can't do it. So I was getting more frustrated. I was getting angry. My productivity was waning. I knew it was because I just could not focus on what I was doing because that music was just driving me nuts. It was driving me nuts. So by the second break, I asked the supervisor, I said, can we change that music? And he said, oh, we'll just turn it off. So I came back from the break, we started working for about 5 minutes, and then the music was back on, the same rap music. And I thought, I just felt like that was a sign from the Lord that this just was not my thing. It's just not my thing. I was coming home exhausted. It was only night 3, and I came home so tired. And I've been sleeping during the day. I've been sleeping pretty good. I got my earplugs in. I actually had my eyes covered. Had the darkening curtains for the blackout curtains for the windows, and I was just pooped. I was just whipped. And I thought, wow, this is really a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But I'm not saying that it's not good to work hard, but I think the stress of making sure that you are just hightailing it to get a certain rate was exhausting to me. Just the thought of having to do that was exhausting to me. So I decided, Lord, I prayed. I said, I really feel like you're telling me that this is just not for me, that you have a better plan. And I got to rethinking things and rethinking my priorities, what was really important to me, and, getting a nice new house would be nice. Having enough room for us all to manage would be better. I've got all 4 kids in 1 bedroom, so that Grandpa can have his own room. And that's not ideal. I'm sure it's not permanent. I just need to let God lead, though, and not try to step ahead of him. And let's just be patient and see where he leads and what he's going to have us to do, So I'm just waiting. I decided that night, Wednesday morning, I decided that morning that I wasn't going to go back on Wednesday night. It just wasn't for me. And Amazon, one thing I'll tell you, they are really good about dealing with these kinds of situations because they hire so many people, they know that a lot of people are not going to stay because the work is so laborious. So they said, well, I'm in good standing because I called them and I filled out this little, resignation form online, and I did everything properly. So they said I'm in good standing and I could come back anytime I wanted, which was really great. And they paid me within 3 days. I think it might have even been 2 days that I had the money that they owed me in my bank account. And the payday wasn't for another 2 weeks. I think it was like 3 weeks away. So I was grateful for that. So, it's interesting, the whole culture in there and this whole Amazon thing. It was interesting to see how things go, how they work, to see the massive amounts of products they carry was unbelievable. I look up and just down the way and just see rows and rows of 40 feet high shelves and think, wow, stuff. And that's another thing, I'm just not big on stuff, just stuff. We're such a consumer-driven society, and we're buying stuff, we're getting stuff, we're giving stuff, we're throwing away stuff. And that just got me to see more clearly, too, that I need to get back into minimizing. And I'm going to do some more videos on that, too, because I just saw, I never want to see that volume of stuff again. It is just overwhelming. It was just crazy. So that's my take on Amazon. There's a lot of pros. There are a lot of cons. I guess I should kind of go over that. The pros were that they are very easy to get into, to get a job. They pay pretty well for a position, a non-skilled position. They are they're helpful. The leaders, the team leaders, the supervisors, the trainers, they were very, very helpful, and I could appreciate that. There is organization, there is order in that place. You know where you belong, you know what's expected of you, and I can appreciate that also. But their expectations are high, and that's just not for me. It's just not for me. But you can always give it a shot if you're interested in trying. If you're looking to maybe, give it a go for it. But and every fulfillment center is different too. So there are Amazon fulfillment centers everywhere. I think there's like 4 in this area. I know there's one in Romeoville, there's one in Joliet, there's one in Aurora, there's one in Chicago, and I'm sure there are more. And that's just in this area. So, every place is different. They're very similar, but they can be very different too. So that's I've been there 3 days. I can only give you what I know after working for 3 nights. So having said that, I'm going to go for now. And I'm so thankful that you took the time to watch and to share my experience on this endeavor of mine to work. I think I'm going to stay home for now and just see where God leads and not be rushing into going to work. The children still need their mama. We're homeschooling. And I don't know, they did really well while I was sleeping and while I was working. And they did super good. Olivia stepped up. The girls, Nick, they kept going with the schoolwork while I was sleeping really well. So, but I felt like I was cheating them. I felt guilty about it. Hi, Pumpkin. So I'm going to go for now. Stay tuned. Look for more videos. We are really hoping to keep it going, to get it back on track, to get it going. Wow. Light. Love you guys. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, night, day, whatever time it is for you. And until next time, don't forget to live well and be strong. Adios.